In the heart of Umudim village, Oluchi's laughter often echoed through the narrow paths. She was known for her cheerful nature and her incredible skill in weaving baskets. Her younger brother Shike adored her so much. He often helped her gather palm fronds while chatting about the latest village gossip. That evening, Oluchi sat under a mango tree, her fingers deftly weaving a basket. Shike sat nearby, munching on roasted maize. "Sister Oluchi," Shike said with a grin, "you will soon become the richest woman in Umudim with all these baskets." Oluchi chuckled. "Ha, Shike, if only baskets could weave themselves, I would be richer already." The warmth of the evening faded into the coolness of night, and Oluchi went to bed with a heart full of gratitude. But her peace didn't last. In the dreamland, she found herself standing in a strange place, a field covered in thick mist. It was mysteriously quiet, except for the sound of her own heartbeat. Then a shadow figure emerged. He was tall, faceless, and camouflaged in darkness. "Oluchi," the figure whispered. His voice was low and commanding. "You belonged to me." She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figure reached out a hand, and coldness washed over her. Oluchi woke up with a start, her body drenched in sweat. Her heart raced as she glanced around her dark room. It was just a dream, she told herself, but the fear lingered. Shike heard her scream and rushed into her room. "Sister Oluchi, what is wrong? Did something bite you?" "No, Chike," she replied, trying to steady her voice. "It was just a bad dream. Go back to sleep." But as Chike left, Oluchi couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The next few nights were the same. The dreams returned, each one more terrifying than the last. The faceless man grew bolder, calling her names and demanding she submit to him. By day, Oluchi felt drained, as though life was being sucked out of her. Her cheerful behavior began to fade. Customers who once crowded a small store started to decrease. One woman, a regular buyer, returned a basket with a frown. "Oluchi, what is this?" she demanded. "The basket separates out before I even used it." "But I woofed it tightly," Oluchi protested. Examining the basket, it was as if it had been tampered with. The woman shook her head. "I don't know what is going on with you, Oluchi, but I can't trust your work anymore." That evening, her best friend Adaobi visited. They sat on a wooden bench outside Oluchi's hut, the moon casting a soft glow over the village. "Oluchi, you have been distant lately," Adaobi said, concern etched on her face. "What is wrong?" "It is nothing," Oluchi muttered, avoiding her friend's gaze. Adaobi grabbed her hand. "Don't lie to me. I have known you since we were children. You can tell me anything." Tears welled up in Oluchi's eyes. "It's the dream, Adaobi. Every night I see the same man. He says I belonged to him." Adaobi gasped. "This doesn't sound ordinary. You need help, Oluchi." But Oluchi wasn't ready to tell anyone else. Surely the dream would stop on its own. Oluchi's troubles escalated. Her chickens stopped laying eggs. Her health began to get worse, and her neighbor whispered about her strange behavior. One morning, after another restless night, Oluchi visited Baba Ejike, the village elder. His small hut was filled with the scent of herbs and smoke from a burning incense stick. "Baba, I need your help," Oluchi said. Her voice was shaking. She explained her dreams and the strange events that followed. Baba Ejike listened intently, his face grim. "This is not ordinary, my dear," he finally said. "You are being haunted by a spiritual husband." "A spiritual husband?" Oluchi asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Yes," Baba Ejike replied. "This spirit claim women through ancestral ties or covenants. Someone in your family might have unknowingly invited him." Baba Ejike gave her a concoction to drink and advised her to stay indoors after sunset. But the dreams only grew worse. Now the faceless man appeared with chains, dragging her deeper into the misty field. Oluchi sat under the shade of the mango tree, her eyes sulking and her shoulders heavy. Adaobi, now more determined than ever to help her friend, knelt beside her. "Oluchi, this is not normal," Adaobi said. "You have been to Baba Ejike, but the dreams are getting worse. You need to go further." "Further?" Oluchi asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "There is a woman in the next village, Mama Ifunaya. People say she's powerful," Adaobi said. At first, Oluchi hesitated. Traveling to another village would mean leaving her business and Chike behind. But as another restless night loomed, she knew she had no choice. The next morning, Oluchi and Adaobi began their journey. The path to Muede, the neighboring village, was rough and lined with thick trees that seemed to whisper in the breeze. As they approached Mama Ifunaya's hut, a strange chill filled the air. The old woman was seated outside, grinding herbs with a mortar and pestle. She looked up as they approached. Her piercing eyes seemed to see through Oluchi. "You are troubled," Mama Ifunaya said without waiting for them to speak. "Yes, Mama," Oluchi said, her voice trembling. She explained her ordeal, from the faceless man to the unraveling baskets and the lost customers. Mama Ifunaya nodded. "You are bound by an ancient covenant, but I must warn you, breaking it will not be easy. The spirit will not let go without a fight." Oluchi's heart sank. "I am willing to do whatever it takes," she said. "Then you must prepare yourself," Mama Ifunaya said. "We will perform a ritual, but you must also confront your fears and speak directly to the spirits." The next night, they gathered herbs and prepared for the ritual. Mama Ifunaya led Oluchi into a cycle filled with candles and symbols. She chanted prayers calling upon the ancient powers to help Oluchi confront the spirits. At first, the ritual seemed to work. Oluchi felt a warmth envelope her, and the presence of the faceless man began to fade. But suddenly, the temperature dropped, and the candles flickered violently. The spirit appeared in a storm of shadows. His figure towered over them, dark and menacing. "You think you can banish me?" the faceless man hissed. "I am older than you, older than this land." Mama Ifunaya collapsed to the ground, clutching her chest in pain. The spirit lashed out, sending a forceful gust of wind that blew out the candles and shattered the protective symbols on the floor. "No!" Mama Ifunaya gasped, her breath shallow. "Run! Oluchi, save yourself!" Before Oluchi could react, the spirit struck Mama Ifunaya with a blast of dark energy, killing her instantly. Oluchi screamed, feeling a cold rage rise within her. The spirit laughed mysteriously as the room grew even darker, with Mama Ifunaya's death weighing heavily on her. Oluchi returned to Umudim, feeling more alone than ever. But the spirit did not stop. It followed her, tormenting her both in dreams and in the waking world. Oluchi, seeking any hope left, went to Baba Ejike once more. She begged for his help, but he looked at her with a resigned expression. "I warned you, child," Baba Ejike said softly. "There are some spirits too powerful to fight. They demand too much." Despite his warning, Baba Ejike agreed to help her one final time. He prepared an ancient charm that was said to banish evil spirits. Together they recited incantations, hoping to waken the spirit hold over Oluchi. But as they chanted, the faceless man appeared in a swirl of smoke. "You think you can defeat me? I am beyond your power." Before Oluchi or Baba Ejike could react, the spirit raised its hand and a blast of dark energy shot out, striking Baba Ejike in the chest. He collapsed instantly, his body lifeless. Oluchi's heart shattered as she fell to her knees, weeping for the loss of the wise elder. But the spirit was not done with her yet. "Now you are truly mine," it hissed and left. Oluchi was tired, but she wasn't going to give up. One day, the full moon hung low in the sky, casting a mysterious light over the village of Umudim. Oluchi stood at the entrance of Mama Nneka's humble hut. Her heart was heavy with dread. This was her last hope, and she could feel the spirit presence pressing in on her like an invisible weight. Mama Nneka greeted her with a knowing smile, but her eyes were clouded with concern. "You have walked a long road, child, and the spirit that haunts you is no ordinary force. It will not yield easily, but we will try." Oluchi nodded, too weary to speak. She followed Mama Nneka into the small dimly lit hut. The smell of herbs and incense thick in the air. A fire burned low in the corner, and the walls were lined with symbols and protective charms. The room felt charged with energy, as though the very air was thick with unseen forces. Mama Nneka handed Oluchi a bowl of bitter herbs. "Drink this, it will prepare your spirit for what is to come," she instructed. Her voice was firm and calm. Oluchi took the bowl. Her hands shook as she swallowed the bitter liquid. The moment the herbs touched her tongue, she felt like vomiting, but she swallowed it down, determined not to back out now. Mama Nneka moved to the center of the room. where a cycle of cowrie shells and burning incense laid. She motioned for Oluchi to join her. "Sit, child," she said gently. As Oluchi knelt on the floor, the cool earth grounded her in the dim light of the room. Mama Nneka began to chant softly, her voice rising and falling in an ancient rhythm, the words weaving through the air like a web. The sound of the chant reverberated in Oluchi's chest, making her heart beat faster. The temperature in the room began to drop, and a chill crept over Oluchi's skin, but she did not flinch. Then, without warning, the air turned heavy, and the familiar face of the faceless man appeared at the edge of the cycle. His presence seemed to distort the space around him, as though the very fabric of reality was bending. The flames of the incense flickered violently, casting strange shadows on the walls. "You cannot banish me." The faceless man's voice was low and mocking. "She belongs to me, and you are too weak to fight me." Mama Nneka's voice remained calm, though a flicker of fear passed across her face. She continued chanting, her hands moving in intricate patterns, as if trying to push the spirit back. But the man laughed, a chilling sound that made Oluchi's skin crawl. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the hut, knocking over the candles and extinguishing the fire. The room plunged into darkness. Mama Nneka stumbled back, gasping for breath. The force of the spirit power was overwhelming, and Oluchi could feel her own strength slipping away. "Mama Nneka!" Oluchi cried, reaching for the elder, but Mama Nneka waved her away. "Stay still," Mama Nneka commanded, her voice drained. "You must remain calm. This is only the beginning." Mama Nneka took a deep breath, her face set with determination. She closed her eyes and began to chant again. Her voice was louder, more insistent this time. The spirit eased in fury, its form twisting like smoke, its formless eyes now glaring at her. "You dare defy me?" the faceless man thundered. The walls of the earth shook with his anger. "You will pay the price, old woman." Mama Nneka's eyes flew open, and she clenched her fist. "Not tonight, spirits. Not tonight." With a final fierce cry, Mama Nneka raised her hands to the sky. The wind howled as if answering her call. The air grew thick with energy, and for a moment it seems as though the world held its breath. But the spirit was stronger than Mama Nneka had anticipated. With one last mighty force, the faceless man lunged at her, his shadow form crashing into her chest like a wave. Mama Nneka staggered, her eyes wide with shock. She gasped for air, her hands trembling as she tried to hold onto her strength. Oluchi screamed in terror. "No, Mama Nneka, please!" Mama Nneka fell to her knees, but she did not let go of the sham she held tightly in her hands. "Oluchi," she whispered. Her voice was faint but steady. You must face him, child. It is the only way." Just as the spirit reached for Oluchi, she felt a surge of energy flood her body. She gripped the sham tightly, feeling the warmth of Mama Nneka's final words sink deep into her soul. "I won't let you win," Oluchi shouted. Her voice was raw with emotion. The faceless man hesitated, sensing a change in her. Mama Nneka looked up, her strength waning, but her eyes filled with pride. "You have it within you. Oluchi, you need to stand firm." Oluchi stood tall, the sham glowing brightly in her hand. The faceless man eased, his form shifting violently in the air. The room trembled with the force of his fury. "You are too weak, too insignificant," he said. "I have already claimed you." Oluchi's heart pounded in her chest, but her mind was clear. She had lost too many already. Mama Ifunanya, Baba Ejike, and now Mama Nneka. She couldn't let their sacrifices be in vain. She could feel their spirits guiding her, urging her to be strong. With a steady breath, Oluchi stepped forward, holding the sham high above her head. "I renounce you. I do not belong to you anymore." The spirit screamed in rage as the light from the sham grew brighter, almost blinding. The shadow figure wintered and twisted, its form shrinking, losing its power. "No! This is not possible!" The faceless man screamed, his form beginning to break apart. The light from the sham expanded, and with one final resounding cry, the spirit was cast out, vanishing into the air like smoke in the wind. The room fell silent. The oppressive weight in the air lifted, and the temperature returned to normal. Oluchi stood alone in the center of the room, her body trembling but her heart finally at peace. She had defeated the spirit that had haunted her for so long. but the victory came at a heavy cost. Mama Nneka laid motionless on the floor, her eyes closed, a weak smile on her face, as though she had found peace at last. Oluchi fell to her knees beside her, tears streaming down her face. "Mama Nneka, you saved me!" She whispered a prayer, thanking the elder for her help, even though she had paid the ultimate price. Oluchi's journey reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, we have the power to stand strong. Sometimes we must sacrifice and endure pain to achieve freedom. But with courage, resilience, and the help of those who care for us, we can conquer our fears and find peace. Please do not forget to like, share with family and friends, and subscribe. Thank you.